Where are you on the Super Bowl 51-ness of it all? You just heard what your coach said, that he's past it but not over it. What about you, Thomas?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things, Rich, where we spent a lot of time, and I was so proud of how the team came together, and very proud of Dan Quinn as a coach and the coaching staff, and there was a lot of work done. So obviously, the ending's disappointing, but I think we're in a really good spot. Last year we recovered from our 8-8 finish, and I thought Dan did a fantastic job. I have all the faith in the world that Dan's going to bring this team back around, and we're going to be in even a better place next year. I think we have most of our offense back, and we have a young, budding defense that we're going to continue to build. And Dan is really direct with me and our staff about what we need on the defensive side. So, again, disappointed, of course, but very optimistic.
Yeah, I was going to. I guess that's my follow-up question right there. Is how do you, as someone who's in charge of building a roster, look at something like that you're that close, or how difficult it might be to get that close again?
Well, I've said publicly and humbly that I don't feel like we have any major holes in this roster. I think the last couple of years working with Dan on this has been great. I think being able to know, the nuances of the roster build from the head coach and what we feel together has been so beneficial. And I think we do some fine-tuned tweaks here and there. And, again, Dan has this team believing. As you know, he does a great job relating to the millennials, which we all know can be a challenge. And, in a good way, Dan knows. He knows what music to play. He knows how to speak with these guys, of course, and he knows how to motivate. So, again, I'm very encouraged.
How about the boss? What's it like chatting with the boss, when it's all said and done after that with Arthur Blank, Thomas?
Arthur Blank was really good through the season with us, even as the beginning of the season was going on and having realistic views about what we were going to do, how we were going to approach the season. And as the season went on and things were going well and we had a couple blips along the road, he was always very, very positive. I was really happy with his leadership with Dan. He's very mindful about how he discusses with Dan and talks big picture and shares it with both Dan and me. And so, obviously, he had his time when he went down on the sideline before the end of the game. He went up or down with a real hop in his step, and as things started getting tighter and tighter, I'm sure it was difficult. But after the game, again, stayed as positive as he could be. He is very encouraged by Dan and our team, and had some really good things to say, and was very optimistic about moving forward.
Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff. One last question on it, Thomas, is are you past it, over it? I mean, seriously, how often do you think about this?
This is one of those things where I can be immersed in something and everything is good and we're building, or it could be me being out in Aspen for a few days with my kids on a snowboard, losing myself in that, or on my bike or whatever it may be. But when I'm, every once in a while when I hit something that reminds me of championship sport in general, it doesn't even have to be football. It can be World Series. It could be basketball championships. I have a good friend in R.C. Buford. Whenever I tend to talk to him, I think about historic organizations, and my head goes there every once in a while.
So you didn't turn to red meat or anything like that, right, Thomas? You didn't get a burger, start eating candy? You didn't do that, did you, Thomas?
I did not. I probably thought about doing other things, but to Dan's comment, not over it, of course not. And I think, I just really believe this group that we have and the characters that we have on this team, I believe they're going to step up, take the kick in the shin, and move forward.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.